we actually were, like, making merch.
But, like...
That's delusional.
Like, no, we're not...
Just take this gun and shoot me!
Bus driver, we're doing eye makeup back here, steady on the roof.
My one thing was I went into the Disney Channel building and I sat down with the president of Disney Channel and I said, I want to make history. And that's what this is. Secret world takeover.
Okay, what's up, you guys?
What's up, guys?
Welcome to our podcast. My name is Zerin.
My name is Maddie.
And, yeah, like, just...
Welcome to the pod.
Yeah, welcome to the pod. Just to start, we're going to introduce ourselves.
Yeah, we're going to introduce.
So, my name is Zerin Martz. We live in North Edwards. Both of us live in North Edwards, California. We've lived here our whole life.
Our whole lives.
I'm
18, he's 17.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn 18 in October. We both work as lifeguards at our local
both
pool.
Lifeguards. This is our second year as lifeguards.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love to read books, watch movies, chit chat, spill tea.
This is why we made a podcast.
Yeah, and we'll get into that later.
We'll get into that in a minute. I like to collect vinyls and I don't really know what else, but hang out with Zizi and everyone else that I know and stuff like that. But we just decided, how about you get into that? Why we decided to make the podcast?
Oh, why we made the podcast. So, flashback to like junior year, sophomore year. Whenever Maddie got her license, because Maddie got her license before me.
I got my license the summer between sophomore and junior year.
Yeah. So junior year, I started riding home with you from school. Not to school, just on the way home.
On the way home.
And we always would just like chit chat about like stuff because we've been best friends. Like,
yeah, we didn't keep contact on that. So we're cousins.
Yes.
We're cousins.
That's a great preface.
We're second cousins. Our moms are cousins. Our grandmas are sisters. So we're cousins, but we're also best friends. We've been best friends since like birth. But yeah, like no matter like the friendships, because we will get into that during the podcast. All of our like broken friendships, but
wait, are we like name dropping?
No, we're not name dropping, but are we kidding this?
No, it doesn't matter.
So, we're not gonna name drop. Let's just talk about that for a second. So the rules of the pod.
Wait, so are we like looking at? Are we gonna look at the camera? Or are we gonna look at each other?
I'm looking at each other.
Okay, good. Because like,
I've been doing both. I'm so sorry.
Because we can do both.
Yeah, like for like context, I'll like look over.
Yeah.
But, like, all right.
Like if I'm like directly speaking to the listeners.
Because if we're both like this the entire time,
and
so
not everyone watches the videos of.
Yeah, so it doesn't even really matter.
Yeah, but so you were saying.
Oh yeah.
You were talking about.
This is how the podcast will work.
Yes.
Or like.
Well, so you were talking about how we aren't gonna name drop.
Oh yeah. Okay, so start. Okay, so we are name dropping because we know a lot of people, and a lot of people are gonna get hurt by this if we name drop because.
Well, sorry, I interrupted.
No,
Go ahead.
Interrupt. Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, if we're talking good about someone,
we
can name drop. But like, if we're like sharing like lore or like not necessarily talking bad about someone, but just something that might be a sensitive topic, but we still want to share our experience of it, we're not gonna name drop.
Yeah, like if we're talking about like a friendship of ours, that's okay. If we're talking about like a friendship of ours that like mutually went wrong. We are not going to name drop because they might get mad. Mm-hmm. You know who you are. Let's cut that out.
No, leave it. That's so funny.
Anyways, but if we don't, I wasn't doing that. But if we do like the person, we are going to name drop because we want people to know how good we like them.
Yeah.
Like how good of a person they are.
Like for example, shout out to me in Naples. Love you.
Shout out to me in Naples. Love you.
Love
first
kisses.
Commenter on the TikTok. No, Anne was first commenter on my TikTok.
Oh, also shout out to Anne. Love you.
Anne. Okay. Anyways, so the reason why we made the podcast.
Okay. Yes.
Let's get into
Let's get back into that.
Let's recap. Junior year. I'm driving you home. Mm-hmm. We would just get into really deep conversations.
Yeah, like, well, and like they didn't always start out as like deep conversations. Like, we would just talk about something that happened at school.
We would literally talk about like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna go home and do laundry, and then somehow it went up in a conversation about like like the women in the workplace.
Yes, like women in the workplace, or like I don't know, just like random stuff like that where it would. I just realized, what if our microphones get too close and they make an echoey noise? Okay, anyways.
We're good.
Like, it would just, like, the way that we talk and chit-chat and interact is, like, we can start on one subject and end up on a totally different subject.
It is so natural.
Yeah. It's, like I don't know, just because we're so close, I feel like we flow.
Well, like, and we know, and it helps because we see eye to eye on, like, everything political. Like,
oh, do you mean water?
Political, non-political.
Yeah. Oh, and speaking of politics, we are not going to be getting political.
Oh, no, we're not going to be political.
Because we're not trying to get canceled.
No, that's not. No, you can go watch NBC.
Yes, you can go watch your preferred news channel.
We're not
if you're talking about politics.
We're just for a fun little chit chat session.
Yeah. Well, and so.
Oh yeah.
That's like another. Okay. Well, so back. We keep getting sidetracked.
Yeah, we did. See, this is what happened.
Yeah, but like this is like
natural. This is
natural.
us.
So we kind of like realized that when we talk, we like go on a bunch of different subjects. Sometimes we talk about like fun, interesting, deep things. And around like that same time that we made that realization, I started watching more podcasts.
Oh yeah.
So let me just shout out the podcasts that I love listening to. Hold on, let me go look.
The only podcast I really do listen to is the Last of Us podcast. And they would like rate each Last of Us episode as it came out. Shout out to them. Love you guys.
So shout out to Find Food Freedom. You saved my life. Shout out to the Dropouts. So I really got into Dropouts.
Oh
and
yeah, I like that.
It was similar. Shout out to Zach and
Shout out.
Bring Indy back on the podcast. I miss her. But anyways, like Dropouts was just similar. It was like friends just chit chatting about what friends chit chat about.
That's literally like us.
Yeah. Shout out to the Office Ladies.
Oh my gosh! Shout out to the Office Ladies. I listen to you guys like all the time. Love you guys.
And then finally, shout out to I'm Literally Screaming with Spensois. That's really been like my inspiration for wanting to start this podcast. But so I started listening to similar podcasts that had similar dynamics to our friendship.
So, and as a joke, we started talking about making a podcast. Like we were like, oh my gosh, like this should be a podcast. Like this would make a good podcast episode. And then like one day we were like, no, like actually I'm not joking. Like like I want to make this podcast. And like the other one was like, yeah, I'm not joking either. Yeah. So
I think like the defining moment was one night I got finished like listening to a podcast and I texted you and I was like, bro, if we don't make a podcast, like
no, yeah, like our lives would end.
Yeah.
And so from then on, we were like probably 4% like joking, but no, like that whole 96% we were being so like legit serious. So, from then on, we like started to plan. Like we were googling things.
Yes,
like
and
we were looking for inspiration.
Yeah, and like round of applause to Madison for like figuring out how to work the Spotify podcast.
Oh, let's talk about the troubles.
Okay, so let's get into that.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Just for the listeners, if you're watching the video, we have a little like agenda.
Oh yeah,
that's we're not gonna be like our next topic is.
Yeah,
like, we're just gonna try and like flow from thing to thing.
But since you guys now know that we like bounce back and forth a lot, we get really sidetracked. We're not on the freeway anymore. We are on the frontage road. Yeah. So we need like a bit of a
guideline
to remember what we're supposed to be talking about, like what we wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
But anyways,
and like also we should circle back around to like about us more because we kind of like glossed over that.
Skip that.
But
they kind of need to know who we are.
Yeah.
If you guys are listening.
If you guys are listening.
Shout out to anyone who's listening this far.
So like I guess like the actual like topic of this podcast that we will get into later is like, are we delusional for wanting a podcast?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But we'll get into that in a minute. So troubles. So Maddie, do you want to share like you're the one who like first like went on Google and was like how to upload a podcast?
Yes, let me share this. So ZZ and I call him ZZ. I don't know. We should like
oh yeah.
So my real name is Madison, but everyone calls me Maddie. ZZ calls me Mads.
Mads or like Madacron.
Yeah.
Or yeah.
Like anything like that. And then his real name is Zerin, but everyone calls them ZZ.
ZZ
I
or
call them ZZ Tops.
Zezer.
Zezer.
There's a variety.
There's anything you can think of with the letter Z. But
Yeah.
anyway, so this is the trouble. So we had weight room together last year, our senior year.
Mm-hmm.
We had weight
Oh
room
yeah,
together.
we're graduated.
Yeah. Bang.
Bang.
Okay, anyway. So unserious. Anyway, so we had weight room together.
Mhm.
Remember that?
Sorry, I'm not really facing the camera anymore, but my back got
We were
tired.
just chit-chatting. So, in weight room one day, I did not ever, work out because I lost motivation.
Shout out to Miss Katie.
Shout out to Miss Katie, love you. Shout out to Jay, shout out to Blake, love you. Anyways, so one day we were, talking about it as a joke, and then, all of our friends... Shout out quickly. Let's just shout out all of our friends.
Shout out to all the friends.
Shout out to Callie. Shout out to Aubrey.
Shout out to Aaliyah.
Aaliyah. Shout out to Channing. Shout out to
Ani, Aubrey.
I already said Aubrey.
Oh, did you?
Shout out to Darla.
Oh, shout out
Darla.
Shout out to Isaiah
Oh yeah.
for always doing
Isaiah.
Bobcat Pride. Bobcat Pride.
Okay. Let's hit a quick one.
Bobcat Pride on 3. 1, 2, 3. Bobcat Pride.
Okay, so anyway, so we were sitting there. I was sitting around with the girls. Zizi was doing legs or something, and so we were joking about it. And then I was like, "Wait, let me just Google this." So I googled how to make it, and it was Spotify for podcasters. And then I was like, "Okay, I'll set this up in just a bit." So then we graduated. Now we're lifeguards. So then I was like, "Okay," one day we were like, "Okay, we're actually gonna do this." So I went on and I made an account with my Spotify account. And it told me I made my own podcast, whatever, but it wasn't finished for some reason, even though I finished everything.
Well, and for whatever reason, so just kind of get a feel for how it worked, we made our intro, which you guys have heard, and we will explain the intro later. Don't cancel us.
Oh yeah. Anyways, let's move on.
Anyways, so we uploaded. Well, so Maddie was trying to upload the intro on to the podcast
onto the podcast
on her account,
and it wasn't finishing that.
Yeah, it was saying upload complete, but it won't
it won't
sync
work,
or upload. It was so strange.
So it's try again in 5 minutes. So I try again and try again. So then ZZ made one.
Yeah, and it worked right away.
It worked right away, and so he could upload it so that he had his own podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So then he found this button that was collaborators.
Yes, it was create your team, and you could invite other accounts to merge with your own.
Yeah. So I used my account, and I clicked on the email link, and I tried to merge it. It did not work so many times. It would just go back to my original podcast that didn't even exist because it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and so I personally, I don't know about you, I was ready to call corporate Spotify.
Oh
and
no,
be
we were getting ready to
somebody help
form
us.
some emails, form some calls, because we are not. We will get into probably some future episodes, but we call companies all the time.
Oh yeah, no.
If we feel it's necessary.
Colleges, I've called my college probably 6 times in the last 3 days.
Our college. What are we saying?
We're both going to BYU.
Go Shout out Cougs. Let's go. We're going in the fall. Anyways.
So, yeah, we leave in a month-ish.
So then the scenery is going to change for those of you watching video and listening. The scenery will change.
Yeah, so that's also just preface. We're in the most transitory period of our life ever.
Yeah, this is. Yeah.
And so,
it's gonna be changing.
It's gonna be changing a lot. New people. Wewe're gonna have future
we're gonna
guests.
Have guests on the podcast. We're gonna have dream guests on my podcast.
Dream guests on my podcast.
Anyways.
Oh my gosh.
Let's spice things up. One of my exes.
Oh.
Anyways, so.
Shout out to JoJo.
Shout out to JoJo Siwa. We don't like you.
Oh, I do. I've been there since day one. Dance Moms. Oh, we don't need to talk about this right now. So.
Side of the camera. You all saw that. Anyways, so then I did a whole bunch of email stuff and redid my account, stuff like that, and then I worked.
Well, and what it really came down to was you had to delete the app.
Oh yeah, I had to delete the app.
So fun fact, I don't know.
For all of you who don't know.
So for all of you who don't know, there is a separate Spotify app for podcasts.
And you can upload your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You can upload your stuff. You can upload your voice memos, everything like that. Your videos, you can do all that on the app instead of in the Spotify app. It's a whole other thing.
It's a separate not it's not a separate company because it is still
It's
Spotify,
still Spotify.
but just like a completely separate like platform, like what's the word? Like program. It's a completely different program.
Yeah, like system.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then I deleted the app, re-logged in, did a whole bunch of stuff, and then it worked.
Yeah, then it worked. So now
we collaborate.
now both of our accounts are linked to the podcast.
Well, and also some other trouble that just happened like an hour ago was that we were supposed to be in a whole other area. We were supposed to film this in, we have like... So like my family, we built like this little like, we call it the little house, and it's just this little house that we built a few years, like a while ago. I was younger.
It's like, I think of that as like kind of just like a little clubhouse.
Yeah, so it has like a little loft, it has a bed, a TV, library, AC, all that. But the AC's been freezing over because it's so hot. We live in Mojave Desert,
so it's been like
115 every day.
115 degrees.
So it was just working so hard that it froze over. So we just found that out, and it was like 90 degrees in there, so we couldn't do it. So we set up this whole like aesthetic little area in my garage.
But for those of you who aren't watching the video,
you don't.
That's kind of irrelevant.
But for all of you who are watching the video, that's why there's like a garage behind us, and that's why we're like behind or in front of a sheet.
Yeah, we tried to just make like a little cubby corner.
Yeah, we try to make it like home, like homey.
Yeah,
comfortable.
Like feel safe.
Yeah,
and inviting.
Our safe space
for our listeners.
For our watchers.
Oh yes. Yeah. Oh, no, you're right.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was saying.
That's okay.
But so like that's kind of how the podcast like came to be. Oh, so let's talk about the name for a minute because we had some trouble coming up with the name.
Yeah. Oh.
So yeah, go ahead.
You go.
So we were like, let's like have, since we kind of like do like tea or like gossip, things like that. We originally, what was like our original idea? Do you remember?
Let's talk about it.
Oh yeah, we wanted it to be like the like let's talk about it or like let's debrief, like we wanted it to be called the Let's Talk About It podcast or like the Let's Get Into It podcast.
There were
but there's
so
like
many,
literally 30 other podcasts by that name,
and so we didn't want to be like
we like wanted to be original.
Ones. Yeah,
and so then we were like, what if like. What was our next idea?
So we thought of things that like we say to each other.
Yeah, like and we
it kind of
came. Yeah, and so it kind of came down to like when Maddie hears a piece of gossip.
Oh yeah.
Or so, I hear a piece of gossip.
If we're in like class.
Yeah.
And like ZZ's working and I'm just like sitting there listening, and someone says something like outrageous, and like I'll like give him a look, and he's like, "What?" I'll just say, "I'll tell you later."
Yeah.
So
like, it'll be like, "Don't worry about it. I'll tell you later."
So. I'll tell you later.
Yeah, so we were like, let's call the podcast the I'll Tell You Later podcast.
So we looked it up on Spotify. There's only one other podcast. Shout out to Liv and Bailey.
Shout out to Liv and Bailey. We are not trying to copy you in any way.
You guys are doing like your own thing. We're doing our own thing.
Yes.
Like, I'll even follow you. Girl.
Yes. No. Here. Follow. Just follow
you.
Like we're really not trying to copy you.
Kisses.
Even though our podcast like dynamic is kind of similar. Like, you guys do, like, pop culture chit-chat, because I listened to one of your episodes, but we're not trying to copy you.
We're just, like, enjoying life.
And
it was really hard to come up with a name.
It was really hard to come up with a name. Like, what were we supposed to call it? Like, the gossip.
The Madison and ZZ podcast.
The chit-chat podcast.
No, that's so crazy.
We could have called it Dream Guests on my podcast.
We'll talk about that later. Possible name change, guys? No, just
possible
joking.
Name change.
No, we're dropping merch. No, we're not.
so I've been thinking like this is not gonna. No one is actually gonna listen to this.
If you're really listening this far, I'm not gonna lie. If anyone is listening this far, let me just tell you how much we love you.
We love and care about you so much.
Shout out, like, send us a text right now if you're hearing this. Just send us a text or like call us.
Oh, so my number is 661-407-5902. Text me if you're listening.
760-514-2328. Like, text us, call us, whatever. Just like let us know that you're listening this far because we love you.
Yeah, we love you and we appreciate your support. Well, so let's get into like the actual like topic of what this podcast is. So like this episode, is like, are we delusional for wanting a podcast? Do you think that we're delusional for wanting a podcast?
I don't think we're delusional for wanting a podcast, but I think that we would be delusional if we thought that people were actually going to be like raving over this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure that, like, this episode might get, like, a couple views. Or,
Just because we've been, like, telling our friends.
We've been telling our friends, like,
Yeah.
like
shout out to Jace. Like, he keeps talking about how he wants to listen to it.
And,
Or, like, shout out to Morgan. Like, Morgan said she wanted to listen. Like, there's people who said they want to listen.
yeah, there's a lot of people who said that they want to, like, shout out to our parents.
Oh, yeah.
And,
shout
like,
out to
shout out
Susan
my
and
boyfriend.
Brady.
Love you. Just joking.
No, it's
Anyways,
okay. I'm just teasing.
So we are not delusional. In conclusion, we are not delusional for making a podcast, but we are delusional if we started to think that, like, this would be, like, big.
Yeah.
Like Spence was. I'm
literally screaming.
I'm literally screaming. Yeah, we're not gonna be that big.
Well, and, like,
What do you feel?
so, I completely agree. I don't think we're delusional for wanting a podcast, because we just want to, like, share our thoughts.
fun.
Yeah, we just want to have fun. But I do think we would be delusional. I just wanna have fun. But I do think we would be delusional if we, like you said, like, if we thought this was gonna, like, blow up. Like,
Yeah.
if we actually were, like, making merch.
But, like,
That's delusional.
no, we're not. Could you just imagine, listeners, just imagine if, like, you saw us in real life and we were walking around with, like, merch on. That's so embarrassing.
Like, or, like, if we, like, were going to, like,
Like, if we had a hat on that said, I'll tell you later, with, like, a wink
yeah,
emoji.
or, like, if we were, like, showing up to, like, TikTok events and, like, expecting people to know who we were.
Oh, no.
No.
Or, like, posting on TikTok, and, like, when people comment, who are you guys?
I don't have any social media, but Madison does. And
So I'm, like, social media manager.
yeah, so Maddie's kind of like the online extraordinaire right now.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, thank you. And so, like, we work as lifeguards. We shared that earlier.
Mm.
And our job is so unserious. Shout out to Miss Davies.
Shout out to Miss Davies.
She's-
Shout out to Lauren.
Shout out to Miss Lauren. Oh my gosh. But so we, like, Maddie and I, like, made a couple, like, funny TikToks
Oh my
one
gosh,
day.
so many.
What's your TikTok? Let's share it.
I think my TikTok is Maddie.Yoshi. Don't quote me on that.
Don't come. So we
I think
can't actually check right now.
Scratch that. It's Yoshi.Maddie. I think that's it. Yoshi.Maddie. But I'll check on another day.
Yeah. So funny story. So we're filming on Maddie's phone right now. My phone's right here.
Otherwise, I would go grab it.
Well, and I would go look at what Maddie's TikTok is if I had it.
But yeah, we
but I
don't.
don't. So,
That's okay.
but so, like, we made a couple funny TikToks at work one day, and then when we decided, like, we're making the podcast, we made a couple, like, TikToks about, like, us,
Yeah,
like,
like,
really getting into the podcast,
like,
but then realizing that no one's gonna listen to
Yeah,
it.
that was a really fun one. Like,
That one was fun.
why don't we think about that sooner?
You.
Oh, my feet are out. Oh, they're grubby. Okay, I'm sorry. Those of you who are looking at my feet right now.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
You exist in the context
Of all
in
that
which
you live and what came before you.
We took so long to memorize that. You
I
did.
have it in my
He
notes.
has it in his
actually.
notes because we were reading it.
But but so, like, if we, like, expected those TikToks to blow up, that would be delusional.
That would be so delusional. But no, in conclusion,
In conclusion, we're not delusional.
No, this is literally just two friends documenting, like, countless conversations.
Yeah.
Because we have so many conversations that I wish we had documented, but they're not. And so at least we're
Yeah.
in warm lighting, we're comfortable.
So Maddie ate with the lighting.
Shout out to the lamp.
Shout out to the lamp. So what do you have to say for yourself, lamp?
Nothing. Really riveting.
She's really good.
She's a really good. So Olympics.
Oh yeah.
Olympics.
So I didn't even realize that the Olympics were coming up. If I'm being honest.
Have been so excited for like 4 years because the Olympics are like 3 years because it happened in 2021.
Yeah.
because
So COVID messed up the last
But
Olympics.
every 4 years I get so hyped because it is like literally my favorite event ever. I love it because shout out to Blake who doesn't agree with this. I think that the best sports,
No comment, or I'm gonna get violent.
No. Best sports ever: gymnastics, track and field,
Yep.
rowing, canoeing, cycling, diving, swimming.
Shout out to Katie Ledecky.
Shout out to Katie Ledecky. Shout out to Simone Biles. Shout out to Suni Lee.
Oh my gosh, Suni Lee is gonna
shout out
kill
to
these
Sarah
next Olympics.
McLachlan. Like shout out to all these amazing
Yes,
women.
just shout out
I love how
to
they're like all women. But
I don't actually know any male
I also
athletes. If Michael Phelps was still in the
Michael
Olympics, shout out. But didn't he retire? Shout out to that one Olympic guy. He's a swimmer. And he has, like, a giant tattoo of, like, a bear and an eagle and an alligator. He's from Florida. Do you know who I'm talking about? He's a swimmer. Last Olympics, there's this whole thing about him and his wife on a big fan boat in, like, a swamp. Shout out to that guy.
Shout out to that guy. But anyways, it is, like, one of the greatest events of all time because it finally appreciates the sports who don't get enough appreciation.
Yeah. Like when else do you hear about swimming?
When you hear about, like a floor routine in gymnastics.
The Olympics is the only time.
It is the most hyped up time for those sports because they don't get any other appreciation.
Yeah.
Like, I would have loved to be a gymnast, but I'm not flexible and I have, like, hip problems and back problems.
Me and Maddie are not the most athletic people.
We really aren't. We played track and
We did track and field. I threw shot put and discus.
I did long jump, triple jump, and 100-meter sprint.
Mm-hmm. And you did the relay.
Well, because there were 4 girls on the team, so shout out to Miss Hero!
Oh my gosh! Shout out to Danica.
Shout out to Morgan.
Shout out to Jace. Shout out to Sticky Nikki.
Shout out to Sticky Nikki. Shout out to Ben Hickey.
Oh, Benjamin.
Sirius.
Shout out to Sirius Johnson, Willie Matthews. Shout out to Elijah Olds, my throwing buddy.
Shout out
to Elliot.
Was that the?
I just realized this whole episode has been nothing but shout outs.
None of these people are going to be listening to this anyways.
That's true. But shout out to Miss Hero and her baby.
Shout out to Miss Hero's baby. Congratulations on the baby.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just
shout out to Brandon, father.
Oh my gosh, shout out to him. Love you.
And shout out to Miss Johnson. I'm going to marry you one day.
Shout out to Miss Morgan Johnson. You are actually the greatest woman ever. Love you so much. Like, actually, Miss Johnson.
Wait, so should we talk about this really quick?
Okay, yeah.
Well, hold on. About Miss Johnson.
Oh, let's talk about Miss Johnson. Oh, yeah. Talk about your love for her.
I just love Miss Johnson so much. So, our high school English teacher, her name is Morgan Johnson.
Love you.
Love you so much.
Daddy.
And, like, so freshman year I was scared of her because I felt like she, like, kind of...
Well, she is not one to just, like, back down. Like,
she's not one to back down.
And, like, we are from a small school, and teachers, like, are good, but they're not, like, they can be more lenient on things because we're such a small school and stuff.
Like our total graduating class was, like, 32 people.
Oh, 32, that's way more than I thought.
And then our, like, total school population...
7th through 12th grade.
7th through 12th grade. So, like, junior high and high school is 250 students.
And that's, like, really low. So, teachers will get more lax, but Ms. Johnson is, like, she really works and, like, educate us.
Yes, and, like, that's what I was going to say. She's just so, like, academically, like, she's focused.
Yeah.
But at the same time, cares about the kids on a personal level so deeply.
Yeah.
And, like, so, like, freshman year I was scared. But then, like, when I realized, like, she's so funny, has a great sense of humor, so knowledgeable, I've learned so much. Like, I feel prepared for college English because of what I learned in high school English.
Yeah.
And so, and then, but, like, what really, like, totally grew my love for her is our senior year. I had 2 periods with her because I took her journalism class, and she gave me, like, book recommendations, because I love, as I said earlier, I love to read.
Yeah.
And she, like, just encourages all our pursuits. Like, she's been, like, encouraging this.
She's, like, the biggest supporter ever. Like, she's just so kind.
Yeah. So.
We just love you.
Love you, Miss Johnson.
Love you.
Shout out to Susan. She's been a supporter.
Shout out to Allison, my mom. I love you, Mom.
Shout out to our moms.
I know that you and our dads.
And our dads.
And our siblings.
And shout out to Katie and Brandy. I know y'all will be listening
shout out to
eventually.
All my siblings. I have 5 of them.
And Sandy and Bailey, but I don't know if you guys will be listening.
But shout out to all of you guys because you guys are, like, actually, like, really supporting us from, like, the home front, and we really appreciate it. Shout out to, like, all of our, like, really close best friends.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
We kind of did that shout out earlier.
Still.
So shut it down. We need to shut down the shout outs.
Let's explain the shout outs really quick. Me and Zerin are very, like, loving people. Like,
yeah, we
care. We care
so deeply.
Sometimes too deeply, but we just care.
So
like,
that's, like, the point of, like, all of these shout outs. It's just, like, we want people to know that we love them.
Like we appreciate them, and, like, yeah. Like
it's hard for us to express this because like we understand it because
we
this
understand
is how we
it,
are.
'cause this is how we are, but like it's hard to put it into words, especially words for some of you who can't even say facial expressions. That's another thing. Maybe these are very big like facial expressions, hand talkers.
Oh, I'm a hand talker.
Like if you haven't noticed this whole video, we probably moved our hands 8,000 times.
How many times have I switched the way I'm sitting? Like, come on now.
Yeah. Like we move a lot when we talk, and like we use a lot of like facial expressions. So if you're listening, it might be kind of hard to understand the tone, but you'll probably get the gist of it.
Yeah. Oh, but so back to the Olympics.
Oh, back to the Olympics, yeah.
Yeah. I'm just really excited. I am really hoping that Simone Biles can have like some sort of comeback.
Amen.
Because last Olympics, I don't want to say disappointed, but I was so sad that she had to be pulled out of her events because of like the topsy-turvies or whatever.
I felt bad because she had spent 5 years at that point, like preparing for that, and like she didn't even get her moment because she was so like nervous and like
and like vertigo is a real thing, especially in the world of gymnastics. And so I was just so sad, but it totally like it gave some like more inexperienced Olympians a chance to shine. Like Suni Lee, had to step in. She got that gold.
Oh my gosh,
she got that gold.
Amazing.
I'm so excited for her this year. Also, you were telling me that she had like a kidney surgery or something. So, yeah, please elaborate.
Forgive me if I'm wrong, listeners, but I saw a video where Suni Lee, she's young. Like she probably just graduated. She's still in high school or something. But
no, because don't you have to be 18 to be an Olympian?
No, there's a 16-year-old.
Okay. Oh, what?
She's like the youngest on the team.
Oh,
Suni Lee was 16 last year.
Last year. So this year she has to be like 2021.
Okay, so anyway,
but still young. That's
she's
the prime of your life.
That's what it is. She's not in high school. Excuse me. She's in college. She got kidney issues, and so she was like going through a lot of like health issues. She had to retire early from her college career of gymnastics. She was going through like lots of treatments and stuff, and then like for the Olympics, she like, for life, of course, but like she fought really hard, and she's in remission now, and so that's how she's at the Olympics. But like that poor girl lost out on her college her career in gymnastics as a college student. And
is like over.
Yeah, it's like over.
Which she still has her Olympic career,
which is so much more impressive.
Yes,
like imagine being an Olympian.
Yes, like, but like at the same time, like being able to have a separate, like a college gymnastic career keeps her in shape for the Olympics, allows her to support her school. Like she probably is going to whatever school she's going to with a scholarship for gymnastics.
Oh, for sure.
For sure. Not probably, like, for sure.
Like, we can Google it, but, like, I'm pretty positive
about
that.
So, like...
She's an Olympian.
Yeah.
A teenage Olympian.
Yeah. And so, like... Who won gold? And so... Like, yeah. But so... I don't know. So, I saw, like, this YouTube short... kind of embarrassing. But so I saw like a YouTube short of this one guy. He's a like male gymnast, and he's friends with all of the like female gymnasts going to the Olympics. And he was trying to go to the Olympics, but I don't think he made it. I don't really know for sure. His name is like Ian something.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I know any of the male gymnasts. I had like.
That's what I'm saying. I think he's like the only male gymnast I know. Like, okay, it's still really so impressive. What is it called? Horse or whatever. Horse and rings. Horse is the one.
Oh, so horses! Yes.
It's like essentially the male beam, where it's like the thingy with the handles, and you go like around it.
You have to spin on it, and then spin on it. But
we might have to clip that.
What is that? Hey, Neil?
Oh, you mean the thumbnail?
Oh shoot! I messed that up.
Hey, Neil. So funny story. So we were just. On
the day that we made our TikToks.
Yeah, on the day that we made the TikToks. So, okay. So, I know we said we're not getting political, but as everyone knows, Trump was, like, shot at.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't think that makes us political for mentioning that.
Yeah, we're not saying we support. That is all the news. We're not saying that we support or not support
We are
Trump.
just mentioning the fact that he got shot.
Yeah.
So we made a TikTok where like the first second I was like, hey guys, like story time on like how I know the guy who shot Trump.
And then like clip to me saying like, oh, actually we lied. Like this is actually about our podcast that we're dropping tomorrow.
Like, shout out to the podcast.
Yeah. And so Maddie was like, I'm gonna make the hangnail your face. And I was like, girl, you mean thumbnail?
Which is really embarrassing. We should. Oh, I'll tell the. Maybe we could clip this. I'm gonna put this on YouTube.
Okay, no. We don't need to clip
okay,
this.
we're not clipping that.
So, we're not clipping that. So let's talk about that just for a quick second. So, talking to some of our friends, you know, in the community of North Edwards, Boron, California. I'm not going to tell you our address. That's too far.
That's way too far. North Edwards was already far, but
North Edwards is already, but like,
who knows North Edwards?
no one knows where. It's in the middle of the desert. You're gonna have to look it up if you're not from
And we're
here.
moving in a month.
We're moving in a month, so
Yeah.
but we've been talking to some of our friends saying, hey, we're making a podcast. And they're like, oh my gosh, I want to listen.
Uh-huh.
But then they're like, oh, I only use Apple Music. I personally have never been an Apple Music user.
My family uses it, but I like Spotify because I've started using Spotify like as a 7th grader, and it has all my songs on it, and I just don't want to swap.
I'm like a Spotify stan.
I love Spotify.
And so
If you have premium.
Yeah, if you use premium, regular Spotify, but like regular Apple Music, you have to subscribe to Apple Music.
Yeah.
But so anyways, like they were like, I won't be able to listen to it, but if we upload this to YouTube, anyone can go listen on YouTube.
Who is going to oh, we don't have a poll. We should have a poll! Who's gonna watch?
So you know how we shared our phone numbers earlier?
Just text us.
Send us a text.
Who was that?
It was your dad.
Shout out to my dad.
Did he need something?
I love you so much.
Hold on. Pause. Go see if he needed something.
He'll be okay.
No. I'm being for real.
Probably just checking on us.
Text him. Go text him.
No. Hold
No,
on.
I'm being for real. Like, go check.
Hold my microphone.
Okay.
Just keep it going.
But yeah, so like on YouTube, like anyone will be able to listen on YouTube. Do you understand what I'm saying there? Maddie's back.
My dad's taking a picture of us.
Oh. Cheese.
Okay. Love you, Dad.
Day one supporter.
Day one supporter.
Love you.
He's gonna be a guest.
You're gonna be a guest
on our podcast.
To be a guest. I can't wait till my episode comes up. I'm gonna rock it.
Yeah.
I love the podcast, guys.
Love
Yeah,
you.
love you.
Country.
Biggest supporter. Love him.
Yeah. Oh, so back to saying how our parents were supporters. So
Oh,
my
yeah.
mom.
Oh,
So like
I'm in your bubble.
are
right
we
now.
like still on the camera? I don't really know.
I hope that these microphones are working.
So we did like 25 sound
I have
checks.
to go and like delete a bunch of. Oh, how long has this podcast been?
I
It's
don't
just
know.
like not even like an hour. We're good.
We're at probably like 45 minutes. It's a
It's
little warm in here, but the sun's going down, so it's
So
fine.
it'll be fine.
But excuse me, I just belched into the camera. But
You mean the microphone?
yeah.
We love our parents.
Yeah, love our parents. So my mom, so I was like, hey mom, like me and Maddie are gonna make a podcast. And she was like, are you being for real? Like at first, like, she wasn't really all in.
She was kind of like us in the beginning. Like, is this a joke?
Yeah, and I was like, no, like I'm being serious. And then she was like, well, what is it even gonna be about? And I was like, well, we're just gonna talk. Like, it's not gonna be like, you know, like some podcasts, like the Office Ladies podcast is specifically about The Office.
Or like some of them are like specifically about like conspiracy theory stuff like that. Like
Or like true crime
yeah,
podcasts.
like we just talk about what we want to talk about.
Yeah. And so I was like, it's just gonna be like humor, like fun, you know, chit chat podcast. And so mom was like, okay, and like then she was like, I just want to make sure that you guys are talking about like good things. And I was like, yes, mom, like we're not gonna talk about like inappropriate things.
No.
Like this, we're gonna do our best to make sure that this is like family friendly.
This is going to be family friendly.
Yeah.
You can listen with your
What
kids
do I
in the
mean do our best? This
Like,
is going to be family
car.
friendly.
This is going to be okay.
But
Shout out to my mom also. She, when I told her that we were doing it, she like immediately was like hounding me, like, when are you gonna do it? I want to be the first listen. Like, I want to listen and stuff like that. She just really wanted to support us. Same with my dad and like all my siblings. Like, but like I tell my mom my day after school every day, and
it's called the Hey Mama.
It's called So Mama.
Oh, So Mama.
So, like, I
I'm
start
so
her off
sorry.
every day by saying So Mama, and then I get into my day. And so I told her about it. And she just kept asking me, like, when we were actually going to do it because she really wanted to listen and, like, help us out and stuff. So, love you, Mom.
So, like, I kind of do a similar thing with my mom, but not so, like, it doesn't have a title.
It's not like a routine, like, name.
For me, I just, like, rage to my mom. Like, I'm like, bro, like, this today made me so mad. This today, like, I literally was gonna, like, run somebody over with my car, like, etc., etc.
That happens a lot with us.
I get really aggressive sometimes.
Yeah. Zizi has, like, low-key anger issues.
Which, it's not as bad as it used to be, so shout out. Oh my gosh. Shout out to Bradley Wiggs.
Shout out to Bradley.
Thank you, buddy. Like, so, like, for a while, we were, like, kind of a trio.
Yeah, so, like, we'll get into, like, our friendships and stuff, like, one episode, but, so, like, as elementary schoolers, it was always, like, Zizi and I, and, like, a friend would float in and then, like, float out. But Bradley, he was pretty constant.
There's some lore. But we're not getting into that.
There's more, but we're not getting into that on the first day.
We're not going to be talking about that on the first episode. But
that would be a whole, like, that would have to be, like, a whole other, like, topic.
That would have to be a whole episode itself.
No, it was not that big. It was
that big to me.
But anyways.
So, anyways, we were talking about, like, my anger issues. So, in 7th grade, it was a rough year for me.
Ooh.
I wore basketball shorts and athletic t-shirts to school every day.
I wore shirts that said "Girls Rule the World" and leggings. No, not even leggings. Like athleisure wear leggings.
Athleisure? Yeah. Is that a word?
I think I saw like a hashtag for it on TikTok.
That's so cute. Okay, but so Bradley literally, like, I don't know if Bradley considers us to be that close, but I consider him to be, like, really close for me because he's stuck with me and stuck being my friend even when I treated him like crap.
Yeah.
So, like, 7th grade, you know, going through some stuff, and, like, I had anger issues. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I interrupted, but keep going.
But, like, Bradley, like, loves to, like, tease and joke. And before I, like, learned how to, like, also joke and tease with people, I would just get really upset. And so, like, one time in our Spanish class, and I guess this was in 8th grade, I flipped Bradley out of his chair. Or, another example, like, he would, like, you know, make fun of me for, like, my gringo pronunciation of Spanish. It was typically in Spanish class. And I would, like...
You're also white for context.
Yes. Oh, we are very much white. Yeah. We are.
Like,
but,
yeah,
and so, like, and I would, like, punch him, and, like, in the arm. Not, like, in the face. But, like, in the arm. And so, like, at the time, like, he'd be like, you're, like, really aggressive. And I'd be like, no, like, what are you talking about? I'm fine. But then over COVID, like, freshman year, I really had to, like, self-evaluate and realize, like, I'm an awful person.
No!
Oh, not an awful person, but I have anger issues. And so I, like, really took time, like, while we were, like, distanced from everyone, to this, I guess this kind of goes along with, like, who I am.
It was, like, personal growth.
Yeah, but, like, going along with, like, you know, part of our topic of, like, you guys getting to know us.
Intro to us, we're, like...
This is, like, an intro to, like, a part of who I am. And so, like, I, like, kind of, like, changed who I was. So, like, when we came back, like, people would, like, tease me, and, like, I would be like, oh, I'm sorry. And they're like, why are you saying sorry? I was just teasing. But, like, it just was kind of, like, a 180 of, like, I'm not as aggressive anymore.
Like, he's trying to, like, work on it. And he's gotten so much better, because I'll tell you guys, I've been with Zizi. Zizi and I have been through each other's, like, hardest phases in life.
Yeah.
And, sitting next to him, we sat next to each other, like, every year in classes, because we were always, like, good kids, but also we were best friends, and teachers knew that.
Mm-hmm.
And we had the same teacher 3rd through 5th grade, and she knew that, like, we just worked well next to each other.
Shout out to Miss Lenores.
Shout out to Miss Lenores. Grandma Nancy, love you. But, we... One year in specific, Zizi was really struggling with those anger issues, and she would send him outside when she would notice that he was getting mad, send him outside to walk around the courtyard, take deep breaths, and then he'd come back in when he was feeling more calm.
Okay, but context. I also was going through, like, some trauma because at the time my sister lived in China because her husband was doing this like work thing. We went and visited them over Christmas break, 2 weeks in a completely... So China, for those who don't know, is a day and 3 hours ahead. Mm-hmm. So, you know, today it's Tuesday at 7:30. In China, it's Wednesday at 10:30 in the morning, not at night.
Yeah.
So, I came back and had horrible jet lag, and it like messed with like my like 5th grader mental health, and so that was also an issue.
It was a really like hard few months for Zerin, honestly, to like
as a 5th grader, like
to recover from that.
So just like, you know, my family knows this, but for those who don't know, and like Maddie knows this, I slept walk for years afterwards. It messed with my sleeping habits, and in turn messed with my like emotions.
Well, and like Zerin like dealt with like breathing problems growing up.
Oh so yeah, I had croup.
Yeah, Zizi had croup,
and so like I like couldn't breathe.
So it was just like there was a lot going on. But also back to Bradley. Let's just circle back really quick. Bradley's been with Zerin also because part of my story, I was gone our 10th grade year due to family stuff. Like I was helping out.
Shout out to Bradley for 10th grade year.
Yeah, so COVID was our 9th grade year, and like we were all chilling, whatever. Like I got weird. Bradley had like emo hair. ZZ was just chilling in life. Like
Sorry, I just interrupted you again.
Go, ZZ.
But my rough years were like probably like 5th grade to like 8th grade, and then I like blossomed freshman year.
You know, so my rough years were like 9th grade through 11th.
No,
like halfway through.
It was 9th and 10th grade.
Halfway through 11th. Yeah. But anyways, so I was gone our like entire 10th grade year. So like I was there for like the first month, and like we were all like getting back into it, like we were all friends, whatever. And then like I had to go, so I was gone all year.
Yeah. And like for family things, just for context, it was like a family situation.
I will get into that for another episode.
Oh, that will be a whole nother episode.
That could literally be a whole other episode. But anyways, so I was gone, and so Zerin was like, I mean, ZZ blossoms. ZZ is a social butterfly, and I'm like not so much, but like I am a pretty social.
No, Maddie totally blossomed junior year.
I blossomed junior year, but anyway, so in 10th grade I was not. So Zerin could like make friends with anyone, and Zerin like started because I was gone, and we were always like with each other. He just like went to like new people, which is like Bradley and this other person.
Okay, so this should be. We have to talk about this for another episode.
Let's have a whole episode about. We should have a whole episode. Let's spice things up. One of our exes.
Dang! Okay, so should we actually make that our second episode?
I'll write it. You talk.
Okay.
I'll write it. You talk.
So we have like a notes of like what we want all of our like future episodes to be. Do you want that to be next episode or?
We will discuss this after.
That's true. But so I dated this girl. Kind of dated. I don't really know because we were literally only 15 years old. So like, how much can you actually date as 15 years olds? But anyways, so I dated this girl. Let's call her Emily. That's not her real name.
See, we don't name drop for people.
We don't name drop for people that like there's like it's sensitive topics. Yeah. But so here's why like I feel like Bradley and me are ride or die, even if he doesn't agree. Bradley is his real name, by the way. Emily and I, you know, we're like kind of like not even like together, but we were like kind of together.
Yeah.
But like she didn't like me having other friends, and so like it kind of like made me and Bradley as like
female friends.
Yes, yep. But any friends in general, like she wouldn't really like enjoy me talking to other people.
Even like me and ZZ was like a stretch.
Yeah, and we are
cousins.
And so like friends. Bradley kind of like shut down our friendship for my benefit. He was a real one.
Yeah.
But then like after me and Emily like broke up, however you want to put it.
You broke up.
So I kind of like ended things over text. It was bad. And also, if this ever gets to Emily, you know who you are.
You know.
I don't have any like bad feelings anymore. I've moved on, honestly.
Yeah, no, like, I have not.
So Maddie can hold a grudge like no one's business. I don't. I like forgive and forget.
Well, no, I hold grudges against people who hurt my friends and family, and this was bad.
It wasn't that bad, but so Emily, I'm sorry if I like hurt you. Why are we getting into this on the first episode? Anyways, Bradley was like still there for me after everything went down. So Bradley's like a bud.
We get deep, but it's been like an hour long. You think we should end it soon?
No.
Because we will just keep talking for hours.
That's true.
You know that.
That's true. There are a couple more things I want to talk about.
Okay.
So we never finished talking about the Olympics. We will be watching the Olympics together.
Right as it turns on, like we'll be hanging out. We'll watch it at work, like all that fun stuff.
No, I will have the Olympics on at work.
The Olympics on at work, but
like I'm just really excited, and I'm excited to like see how the USA's Olympians like do. USA. We're very patriotic.
We are very patriotic, but that wasn't political.
That wasn't. Oh my gosh, that was not political. I'm just saying.
That was not political. That was just a comment.
That's just a comment saying that we enjoy living in this country with the freedoms that we have that other countries don't have. That was also not political.
That was not political either. Like let's go back to the Olympics. We're just very excited.
Good way to change.
We're just really excited of like to support everyone who's worked so hard because that's like a lot of work. Like track and field at our high school was hard.
Also, it was so unserious.
It was so unserious. We were always making dance TikToks or.
Oh, we made dance TikToks. We made candy salads.
We made candy salad. I had to pee like every time I had to jump.
Yes, Maddie would just be like, "I have to pee. I have to pee."
At every single meet, I would I wouldn't like panic before like a jump or anything, but I would like have the sudden urge to need to pee like really bad. So I'd scream at my coach, "I need to pee! I can't do this! I need to pee!" And she'd just scream at me, "It's in your head!" Shout out to Miss Hero, love you. And so then I'd like jump, but like sometimes it was not it. But Mia, shout out, I love you, Mia. Mia, if you're watching this, we love you. But Mia would like help me a lot because she was also a jumper. She should be in the Olympics.
Oh my gosh, Mia! Become a pro athlete, please.
So she would jump like 14,000 feet, and then when I would like jump too, and like I need to.
That was so hyperbolic.
That was so English. Good for you.
Thank you.
Love you, Miss Johnson. I tried to avoid saying the word shout out, but so Mia would just like really support me, and I love her. But she should be in the Olympics too. But we should not be.
Just a fun fact: Bradley and Mia are dating.
Oh yeah.
That's just a fun fact. So like
Bradley and Mia are together.
Like,
we love them together.
Love Mia so much and love Bradley so much. Like what a coincidence that they're dating.
We actually like hung out a few weeks. No, like
it was like a week ago. It was like 2 weeks ago.
It was like 2 weeks ago. We hung out
with
me and my boyfriend and Bradley and Mia and Zizi.
I was the fifth wheel.
Zizi and then my boyfriend's little sister Paige.
Oh, Paige. Paige was there for me.
Love you, Paige, if you're listening, but you won't be. But yeah, so we all like hung out and we swam and stuff. But we love Mia and Bradley and them together.
Yeah. So let's just end talking about the Olympics, about how excited we are. Moving on. So the movie If, right?
Oh yeah.
We were talking a little bit about that yesterday. So for those of you who don't know, it's this movie called If. It's about imaginary friends, written and directed by John Krasinski. Jim from The Office, the dad in A Quiet Place, just for reference.
And there's
he's in the Jack Reacher series as well.
The little girl in the movie is she's what's her face on The Walking Dead. She's the little girl.
Maddie has Easter eggs I didn't even know about.
She's Rick's daughter. I'm blanking on her name, and I love that show, so I don't know how. But she's the little girl, and then Ryan Reynolds is
Ryan Reynolds is also like a main character.
And there's some like other. I think there's some other.
Steve Carell is the voice of one of the like animated characters.
Yes, also on The Office.
Also from The Office.
From Beautiful Boy, have you seen that movie?
I haven't.
Dude, we're watching that movie together. If any of you have seen Beautiful Boy, it's so good. It's just
this is the aggression that we were talking about.
It's just so sad.
So the reason I brought If. So we were talking. Go watch it. It's a really good movie. I don't know if Maddie feels the same way. I loved it.
I just think that it wasn't what I expected, and if I had went in with a different perspective, then it would have been better. But I was expecting funny, silly, goofy. The plot was everywhere.
This is why I wanted to bring it up, because I wanted to talk to you about the plot. Yeah. So it's about this girl. Her mom dies of cancer. Mm-hmm. Her dad has a heart condition. Mm-hmm. The dad is John Krasinski, by the way.
And the daughter is the girl from Walking Dead.
Yes, and she's staying with her grandma, and like while she's staying with her grandma, she ends up going on like these like random adventures with like imaginary friends. She finds out that imaginary friends are real and that they disappear if they can't find a kid. So she tries to help them like find a kid to like be with.
Yeah. Like to be their imaginary friend.
Yes. And so, and like, yeah. But the plot is like kind of like absolutely all over the place. Because like they call her the chosen one in like one part.
And when did they
and then
mention it? Never
never
again.
bring it up again. But here's what I'm thinking. So at the end of the movie, you end up finding out that Ryan Reynolds in the movie, his name is Calvin.
Oh yeah.
Calvin is Elizabeth, the girl, her imaginary friend. And I called it in the middle of the movie. Did you notice at the beginning?
Yes. No.
When she's drawing the clown,
Yes!
and then the bear says, "Oh, Calvin used to be a clown."
Yes!
And then,
No.
hold on, she goes in her closet, and you can see his name written on one of her drawings.
No, but
Okay.
did you also notice that I think it was like I don't know who said it, but they're like his job used to be to make you laugh. Did you catch
No.
that? Yeah.
No.
He was like yeah, his job used to be to make you laugh.
So
And I was like, excuse me, you specifically.
So what I caught was that do you remember when she makes the little clay figure for the boy who broke
Yes.
a bunch of bones?
Yeah.
Did he have little bone disease? What was wrong with him?
They don't ever mention it. And
He was a sweet kid,
he
though.
was just like a comic relief.
He was,
almost.
yes, he was like
Just
a side
like to
character.
make people like happy.
Yeah. But so she makes him a little clay figurine. When she goes in her closet to get the clay, it focuses for a millisecond on a drawing because she drew a lot as a kid, and it says Calvin. And I'm like,
How did you catch that?
I don't know, but I literally rewound the movie because I watched it with my parents and my older sister Brandy. Love you, Brand, and love you, parents.
Love you, Brandy. Love you, Brady.
I caught it for a second and I rewound. I was like, you guys, look at this paper. It's poking out of like this box. It says Calvin on it. And so I was like, Calvin's going to be her imaginary friend. And so I called it.
Yeah, I had also called it because of that thing that I mentioned previously.
So I didn't catch that. So we both caught something.
See?
But,
Look at that.
so at the end of the movie, you think that her dad like is dying from the surgery that he had on his heart. And so she runs upstairs Calvin. This is before you know that he's her imaginary friend. And she says, like, I don't want to do it again. And he's like, what do you mean? And she's like, I can't say goodbye because her mom died.
Uh-huh.
I started crying. I cry a lot.
I teared up. I cry a lot, but this movie, like, it was a tearjerker, don't get me wrong. But I just wasn't expecting everything because it was just like, So I didn't, like, cry, but I teared up because it got me emotional.
I cried for, like, an hour. And so that made me cry. Then she went to the hospital. And the thing with when her mom was sick was her mom would ask her to tell her stories. When her mom was sick, she was like 6 years old or something. Now she's like 12. And so Calvin tells her, just tell your dad a story. You don't have to say goodbye. Oh my gosh, I'm going to cry. So she goes to the hospital and like tells her dad like the story about how like
he was
he was like
supposedly
asleep. Yeah. He just got out of surgery. And so like she's like telling the story about how she like tried to like push him out of her life because she couldn't like stand the thought of having to say goodbye again, but like how much she actually needs him. And then he like wakes up and he's fine, he's alive.
And he like made it really emotional. Like that's when I like really teared up.
Yeah. That's when I started like bawling. But then you find out that Calvin is her imaginary friend and that all of the other like imaginary friends in the movie like are also just like a figment of her imagination, essentially. So here's what I was thinking. This is why I brought it up. You know, we were saying, because originally I watched it the first half, then I went to bed. Like, we all went to bed, me and my parents and my sister. And then we watched the second half, like, a couple days later. So the first half, I was agreeing, like, there's no plot. Like, what's the plot? But here's what I got out of it. The plot didn't have to make sense, because the whole movie, essentially, is Elizabeth, or in the movie, her name, the little girl, her name's Elizabeth, but B is what everyone calls her. Essentially the whole movie is B's imagination and her journey of coping with her mom dying and her dad being like in danger of dying. And so like it hit me emotionally because I was like, now the non-existent plot does make sense in a way. Like it was all over the place because it was a child's imagination.
And I kind of understand that, but at the same time, I just expected more. I just expected it to be more cohesive because the whole plot, like, they would just mention things and then not mention it, or, like, do something and then never mention it again. Like, it was just, I don't know. They were just throwing things out there to throw things out there.
And originally I felt like that, but then at the end I no longer felt like that. And I cried a lot. But so final thing.
Final thing, because we have a movie after this.
Yeah, we do. We have a movie to watch.
And I'm waking up early to clean bathrooms.
Oh, but so, last thing today, my dad was like checking emails or something, or he was on some like news feed. Have you heard the girl that botched the national anthem at the MLB?
Yes.
Oh my gosh!
They were like
Yes.
sitting there and like try not to laugh. That video is so funny.
No, that video is so funny. So did you know she was actually drunk?
You're
She's
lying.
an alcoholic and she's going to rehab. So good for her for
Good for
seeking
her
help.
for fixing that, but like seeing that what was it, MLB?
It was the MLB Home Run Derby
Oh,
for the players that are being inducted into the MLB Hall of Fame.
Poor girl. That poor girl.
And the Rockets red glow! It was really bad. It was really bad. She
had
like
one moment of fame and she botched it, and now she's just a
Well,
meme.
so she's just a meme, and she's actually been like categorized in the top 10 worst national anthems ever sang.
No, that's
Yeah.
so sad. What ranking is she? Do you know?
I don't know for sure. My dad was the one telling me about all of this. But what's her name? I want to like know her name.
She's just the girl who sang that at the
Ingrid Andress. I'm so sorry, girl.
Sorry, but at the same time,
At the same time,
drunk.
don't.
Oh wait, was that like me?
No, that wasn't me.
Oh,
No,
okay.
I agree. Like we were talking. Me and my sister Brandy were talking, and who's her agent? Who's her publicist?
Who let her?
Who let her go? Because honestly, at that point, if she was intoxicated to the point that she like sang that horribly, someone else needed to have told her,
And who-
Ingrid, don't go out there.
Who didn't smell it? Who didn't smell it on her breath?
Yeah,
Like
and
you could
just
pull someone out.
like so. Honestly, I feel bad for her because clearly she doesn't have anyone close enough to her to tell her the hard stuff. Like, don't go
Yeah.
out there.
No,
And
she deserves better. But
Yeah.
at the same time,
but it was comic relief, and I thank her for that. And I acknowledge that it was very funny.
Ugh.
But there will be so. Also, I just want to address. I feel like we didn't laugh very much. Where was our laughter?
we are very laughy people.
We're very
We do
laughy.
laugh. Well, this time, like we were just like kind of like getting into it, but we did
Yes.
laugh quite a bit. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, and we had to get into so much because it's the first episode.
So we had to like intro everything.
Yeah.
But we will have one of these like rolling out every week.
Yes, we're hoping to get one of these out an episode every week.
Once a week.
Once a week.
It'll be like this amount of time.
Yeah,
Like an hour.
every time. Yeah, was this an hour? I feel like this was around an hour.
Yeah.
It might have been a little shorter than an hour. I think we were at like 48 minutes right
Either way, like this is like gonna be what it'll be like.
now.
Stay tuned in. We have like great episodes lined up.
Yeah. Do you want to share your socials before we end, so that people can go
So I
follow?
think all my social media, Snapchat, Instagram, and TikTok is just Yoshi.Maddie. YOSHI
Dot.
MADDIE. I think it's just all that. My Snapchat might be different. No, I think it's that. And if it's not that, just add a 7 onto the end, and it's probably me.
And also like,
I'm brunette. I have blue eyes.
well, but like also like. You're not really on your Snapchat like that. If
I'm
anyone's gonna go
not.
follow and
We
support the
just use like my
podcast,
Instagram.
or
my
even the
TikTok.
TikTok.
Like,
But
just go do those.
once again, I don't have social media, but you will see me featured on Maddie.
We're probably gonna make a YouTube.
Yeah, and we're so
We will mention that in a later date. Or
So-
we'll put it in our bio.
so that's another
Yes.
thing. Like today, specifically, like right after we're done filming this, Maddie's gonna be editing
Yeah.
this video, like this
Yeah.
podcast, and I'm gonna be hopping on our like actual podcast page and working on like a description of the podcast. Deleting. We uploaded the intro like as a test.
So now
we're gonna be
like,
deleting
delete
that. But so yeah, just we love anyone who's listening to this,
Love you.
and
Thanks for watching this
yeah,
far.
we'll tell you later.
Okay, I'll tell you later.
I'll tell you later. Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.